So yes, feasibility studies, we will go through the area that we cover, like I said, is a fair bit, okay? And some people like to treat feasibility studies as technical studies, but that one we call it preliminary investigations or investigative studies or site investigation. So those are important things like topography and all that. That is, some company will have a separate technical studies and they don't include feasibility studies. They don't include that in the feasibility studies. Like I say, please don't treat it like, a square box. This is actually a pretty flexible terms that some places, some people, some company may use it quite loosely. But if you say strictly speaking, feasibility studies are technical, are economical, it's social, it's environmental studies, it's all of that combined. And what do you do? So first of all, you have to collect enough data. You have to collect what is the existing information around the site. What are the current development that is ongoing or development has been ongoing for the past 5 years, and how they are doing and how well they are doing. And you need to look at the site and the location of the site, the project environment, where the drain stops, where the water supply systems come from. You need to collect all the existing data and historical data pertaining to the project. And then you need to do population forecasts, you need to do income forecasts, demographic studies. All these things will need to be done properly during the data collection stage. So different data, you will be using it differently at different point in time. So obviously, the better you know your site, the better you know the market trend, the better you know the economic trend, the better you know the authority that is impacting the area or the environmental and also the environmental law, legislations, occupational law, and legislation, and what are the social constraints. All these things, if you know it beforehand, it will make your design of the project a lot more wholesome, a lot more better to answer a lot of issues that could later come out in that way. Yeah, so we would like to go for a wholesome design. It's about consideration of many factors. And yeah, that is system thinking that I was talking about. Again, you are looking at design from the system thinking perspective. So feasibility studies is like a study that you need to do, like that picture with the in out arrow with the 3 layers, with the project in the center. Now, if you put design in the center or all the project scope in the center, then you're looking at all this impact that goes into the project and the project impacting outside. So this will actually help you to do the design in a more wholesome manner. So system thinking is something that I emphasize on a lot here. Even, in terms of designing the initiation, now even going into the different components, designs, and all the designs of the entire project, we also would like to look at system thinking. And that actually goes, hand in hand with feasibility studies. And after that, when you have enough data, you will do analysis on the data. What are the impact, how the project will impact all these factors, and how these factors will impact the project and the design and the construction later. And feasibility studies also, we will carry out some form of risk assessments as well, because risk assessments is important, because if you don't assess the risk that is potential in the project or that is hidden in the project, it could be technological risk, external factors, which we normally will group it into 3 major uncertainties, which is people, external, and technological. Because unless you have a very project related, like a design, you finish design already and you see what you're going to be building, then we will do a more detailed, definitely we'll need to do a risk profile. But this part here, when you're having the feasibility studies, is just the overall, a very general studies on the potential risk that the project may face, or that you can see may be coming, but not necessarily will impact the project. Some will be like, it may not even come, but if it comes, the impact will be high. So for example, general economics, the current field, weather, all these things are external factors that will affect the project. Technological means that we may not have the potential specialists to do the job, or your company may not have the right people to actually execute the project. So those are the things that you need to consider in risk assessments, in these three areas. So once you've done your feasibility studies, the feasibility studies will study the options, like options A is like this, like this, like this, option B is like this, like this, option C is like this, like this. Okay. And then, so obviously if you have more options, you're going to have a lot more comparison studies to do. But if you only have two options, for example, then it will be a lot more concise. The report will be a lot more smaller. So these are the content of the feasibility studies. Okay, so the different types of economic impact, social impact. So we are actually listing down the content of the economic studies. Sorry, not content of economic, content of the feasibility studies. So this part here, like I say, it actually sounds like the cost benefit analysis, but it's actually a lot more. So to do a cost benefit analysis and a cost effective analysis, you combine that with the other aspects here that you're studying, then you will actually be able to assess your options more carefully and more readily, and then you will end up with a more wholesome sort of project again. Yeah. So this is the different social studies, environmental studies, these are all parts and parcels. You see, the feasibility studies is actually a lot more wider. Yeah, it's not only cost benefit analysis, it's actually what will impact the project and what the project will impact, you see, and then cost and benefit is only one part of it. Cost effectiveness is only one part of it, and financial viability studies is one part of it as well. So even financial feasibility studies, sometimes we do not put it in the feasibility studies unless it's a very simple cost time of the project, then we'll put it there. But normally, financial studies, we will always try to make it a bit more confidential because it's dealing with the company's internal management and internal organization and their own financial status. We're not going to send it out to everybody to read these things. So we will try to be a bit more careful with the financial viability studies. So again, I repeat, for your feasibility studies, it's like a big report that studies the options. And then within the options, you'll be studying, you think of that map that I gave you, the system thinking map that I gave you. You think about how things are going to be, how the project will be impacting the environment, how the environment will be impacting the project. And from there, you do the cost benefit analysis and also your cost effectiveness analysis. So this is very directly now we're looking at benefit and cost benefit and cost. If we talk about feasibility studies, it's about can it be done? Can it be done? Can it be done? So you need to study the entire project environment and answer that question. Can it be done? Can it be done? Yes, 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 yes. No, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes. So once that is done, you need to study the options in terms of what benefit it will bring, what cost it will bring in terms of dollars and cents, in terms of non-monetary terms. Then we will also look at the financial part of things. Okay. And yeah, so this one here, this study is going to take a long time. So financial analysis, I've already explained just now. Yeah, the project cash flow, the funding. And don't also forget that for every project, we also need to do life cycle costing and also value engineering. So life cycle costing is something that you need to do part of the feasibility studies because you need to think about the cost of things after design, after construction. What about the operation? What about the maintenance? What about the support? What about the disposal? What about the replacement? What about the retirement of the facilities? You need to think about that as a proper study as your feasibility study. So if you're going to have a project that is going to be so good in use, but then later on you cannot change the purpose, you cannot dispose it, or you cannot change it to other usage, then it may be a bit difficult. The life cycle costing may not be good, or it may incur a high maintenance cost, a high replacement cost of different parts of machines or different parts of the components of the project. It can have a very long-term impact. So this part of the recording, I will have 3 recordings, especially on life cycle costing.